There's something you need to know. Italy in the summer as a tourist is beautiful. Italy in the summer as a resident can be pretty difficult. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips to help you to survive living in Italy during the hot summer months. The first tip is a little bit of a controversial one, but I think it's important to consider because my tip is to avoid the beaches here in South Italy, especially in August. And the reason I say this is because August is a crazy month here in Italy in the sense that everybody has pretty much most of the month off from work. So a lot of Italian people are given their annual leave during this month. We have Ferragosto, which is the 15th of August, which is an Italian public holiday. And so as a result, there are so many people off all at the same time, and all anybody wants to do is go to the beach. So if you combine Italian tourists with international tourists, you pretty much understand why a lot of beach locations are not very comfortable places to be during this month. Now, I will give you a prime example. Mondello Beach in Palermo. Any other time of the year resembles the Caribbean. It is absolutely beautiful. However, roll on August and you see a lot of negative comments on TripAdvisor from people saying how dirty it is, how crowded it is, how there isn't much of a free beach because the Lidos take up most of the space. This sadly is a story repeated across all different places in South Italy, including here in the Salerno province. It can be really, really crazy, and I find that going to the beach, especially during the month of August, feels like a job because unless you are there super early, you're going to get stuck in traffic, you're going to find it difficult to get a space on the beach, and you know, unless you've pre-booked a bed in a Lido, for example, which costs, you know, quite a bit of money depending on where you go, it can be really, really difficult to enjoy the experience. So a lot of people will go to the mountains during the month of August to escape the heat and usually the crowds, but also like countryside locations are really, really beautiful places to explore during this month. I think personally, if you're living here, you can benefit from the beach, you know, in June, even into July. Yes, it gets a bit busier because the schools tend to close here in Italy in the month of June, but it's nowhere near as bad as the month of August. And so I think this is a really, really good tip to survive that particular month. I just don't find the beach in the summer as enjoyable an experience as I do at other times of the year. And depending on where you are, especially here in South Italy, people still go swimming in the sea in Mondello in like November. So, you know, it really does depend on where you are, but I think you can enjoy the beach far better at other times of the year. The second thing I'm going to say is that to survive the heat, you've got to really consider like where it is that you're living, because the summer is hot here in Italy, and every single year it seems to get hotter, and different parts of Italy suffer from humidity in different ways. And I kind of feel that if you're based in a city especially, it can be really muggy and unbearably hot during the summer, so much so that a lot of people tend to leave the city and go to like seaside locations, mountain locations, countryside locations, just to escape the intense heat. And so this is something for you to consider, especially when you are choosing where to live in Italy. It's great to live in a city, but consider the summer months. What are you going to do? A lot of people will hire holiday lets if they don't own a second home here, so they might hire a holiday let for a couple of months just to escape the city heat. But you've really got to think about this because it's not easy to live in the city during the summer. You've also got to think about the fact that you're going to have to organise your life a little bit differently, especially during the month of August, because everything stops here in Italy in August. Now, as a tourist, you really don't notice this very much, because when I first came to Italy back in 2017, I actually came in the month of August and I stayed along the Amalfi, so I had no idea that, you know, August was such a dead month anywhere else, because as I've always said to you, the Amalfi Coast is very much a bubble. It operates all tourist season long, so you never really realise that, you know, other parts of Italy feel a little bit different at this time. And so I think you've got to really plan your life accordingly. You've got to really maybe write off the whole of August when you're living here, because so many places will be closed due to the holiday. And there's a vibe in the summer months, I think, as well, of just everything slowing down. And on the one hand, that's beautiful, but when you've still got to work and you've still got things to do, it can be difficult to retain motivation during the month of August or even July, I think, is when it really starts to slow down. And so you've got to think about this, like, you know, how are you going to manage your workload, the things you have to do during the hot summer months when everybody is kicking back and relaxing around you, because you do find yourself getting influenced by your environment, very much so. I think as well, when it comes to the summer, you've got to try and avoid the typical tourist places. It's so easy to want to go to, like, you know, the really beautiful parts of Italy during the summer months, but unfortunately they are just crazy busy. Consider we went to Vietri this morning and we spent about an hour sitting in traffic. It was ridiculous. And this is June, and yes, it's June the 2nd, it's a public holiday here, so naturally there were more people, but I'm telling you, in August it's going to be even worse. So this is the situation. You've got to avoid the public places where all the tourists go, and you've got to try and seek out some other places to spend time in during the summer months. I think it's difficult to live somewhere where there are lots of tourists, absolutely. It's hard to kind of go about your everyday life when there's lots of traffic and there's lots of people everywhere. But when you're living here, these are the kinds of things you have to consider, because it's not easy during the summer months to navigate your life, the temperatures, with lots and lots of people. But one thing I will say about living here in the summer months is that life gets lived outdoors. So essentially, people spend a lot of time outdoors during the hot summer evenings, and it's beautiful. Generally speaking, it's a lot fresher at that time, and so you get to naturally enjoy the evening atmosphere, feeling a little bit cooler depending on where exactly you are. So the nightlife is a wonderful aspect of the summer months here in South Italy especially. It's kind of what this season was made for. So I think that's a really beautiful thing, like living your life in a different way during the summer evenings compared to how you would in the winter months, for example, is a really, really lovely thing. And also just enjoying being out more. I think, you know, the summer encourages you to go out. Yes, it's hot. Yes, it's better to go out in the morning and later on in the afternoon, but it's nice to go out. And I feel like, you know, during the winter, people are less inclined to want to go out as much, but during the summer, it's almost that invitation to go exploring and to, you know, discover exactly where you're living and what's around you. And so I think this is a really, really beautiful thing as well. I will say overall it's not easy to live in Italy during the summer, just because, like, it is super hot and there are so many tourists, and, you know, you do find, especially in the month of August, you can't really get very much done. But it is a wonderful feeling to know that you do not have to go home at the end of it, unlike so many people who visit here on holiday. So I think, you know, that is probably the best feeling about living in Italy in the summer, is that this is your home and you do not have to get on a plane at the end of your experience. But I think it's really important to talk about what Italy is like, you know, at different times of the year, because when you're living here, you will experience everything. In fact, I did a video about what it can be like in August especially. I'll link it up here, because I don't think that is the best month at all to come here, having lived here now for nearly 7 years. But it's just really important to talk about this, I think, on this channel. And if you've enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed diving a little bit deeper into what summer can be like here, I think you'll also enjoy this video next. I will see you in the next video.